Magandang hapon po. Ako po si Jun Dayo, illustrator ng comics noong 70s to 90s. At naging storyboard artist from 96 to up to now. May kwento ko lang po ang isang bagay na na-receive ko noong July 17, 2020, Friday. Yes, I have received a notification from a certain article publisher, Matthew Roybal, managing editor of Foreign Comic Collector magazine, based from Roswell, New Mexico. Talking about the piece of work I've done sometime in 1995 for Mystery Marlowe Comics magazine, published by MMPC, entitled ALYAS Batman. A short piece of story related to the Batman Crusader, written by Miss Edna Diaz and illustrated by yours truly. At first, I was reluctant to read the article simply because it might have some sort of negative reaction from bashers all over the world. But when I continued reading it, I felt a little bit more proud of my work. Never in my entire life I will be commended by a foreign-based editor as a famous illustrator in the Philippines, which I am not. Truly, I am just an ordinary artist who wants to earn a living and put meals on the table. My stint in Philippine comics was not that awesome either, as I have struggled having scripts every time I would submit my work pieces to ALYAS Publishing, Adventures Publishing, Funny Comics, to name a few. Even going to MMPC was a sort of baka-sakali move, and one of those significant scripts that will somehow take a glance on my struggle is the soft scripted material of Miss Edna Diaz, alias Batman, a robot replica of the famous DC character Batman. Never knew that the said piece will take me to a little spotlight that Mr. Matthew Roybal is relating to all Batman aficionados all over the world. This topic will not go viral because I am a nobody. But having such a write-up from a foreign-based editor is somehow gave me something I could be proud of. Hope every aspiring comics artist in the Philippines will strive hard and be proud of their chosen field. You may not notice today when you're trying to make a name in the industry, but in the long run, your name will somehow pop up ceremoniously in the right time, in God's glory, in God's grace. Thanks for the script, MMPC and Miss Edna Diaz. It makes us all worthwhile for a while. So here's the article that Matthew Roybal has written. My son Jun Dayo will be the one to narrate article for us. Thank you so much and enjoy.
Buckle up, comic fans. It's bootleg time all the way from the Philippines. Man, I was excited when I opened my mail and found a complete mystery, and a murder mystery to boot. The cover gleamed with the title Mystery Murder, alias Batman. I've never seen anything like this before, and my interest was piqued. I shared this book with my Filipino buddy Glenn, and we did a little digging about the bootlegged alias Batman movies from the Philippines released in the 70s and 80s. A little more digging and I found the movie posters online pretty easily. I also learned that the islands created bootlegged Batman comics, that's how they spell comics there, in Tagalog. Within this comics world, there are plenty of original books local to the islands. But interestingly, there are dozens of bootlegs that are obviously flat copied. Superheroes from around the world printed with a few subtle changes to presumably not outright steal their intellectual property. In the case of this book, Mystery Murder alias Batman, it is a very, very subtly color change Batman. and he has a locally produced art style and story in Tagalog. In a new story written in Tagalog, Batman is Batman, and he does what he does so well: kick ass. My guess is because the publisher knew the locally produced Batman movies had been very popular in the islands. They hoped to continue the appeal of ALYAS Batman and did not need a clone Batman-like character. A killer bootleg is born, and I just love this damn thing. I personally believe that bootlegged comic books give popular loved properties space to breathe outside of the strictly controlled environment of licensing parameters. All superhero bootlegs, whether they be Indonesian, Chinese, or Filipino, are cultural mirrors in which American pop culture can be reflected right back at us through the lens of another culture. Through research and comparison, we can learn so much about ourselves as well as the bootlegger country's culture. Reading these books can open a portal where we can enter into an almost parallel pop culture universe. Too meta? Now back to the murder mystery, ALYAS Batman, published by MMPC. The book is in a format I have rarely seen. It is larger than a standard comic, with a tall layout but thinner in the horizontal. A stamped advanced copy is on the cover, and someone hole punched the entire book. Very sad. It does hurt my heart, but the whole points to the fact this book might have been some sort of file copy used for reference, which is kinda neat. Reading the cover, it appears the issue number is number 371, but I can't be sure as no indicia exists that I could find. This lack of indicia is a common bootleg trait I see all the time. The cover features our favorite Dark Knight above some villain punks he has captured. The art is well done, despite those weird color changes to Batman's costume. This unlicensed version of Batman has an odd pinkish hue, where normally gray or blue would be the standard. I also noticed the classic Bat Shadow, made famous in the popular Year One storyline, rounds out the cover's title. The interior art features a Batman that has a red logo bat on his chest, and a red utility belt, which is very interesting color choice to make. But this time it is repurposed to highlight the writer and the artist, Jun Dayo, who is a very famous and popular illustrator in the Philippines. A vast back catalog of published works certainly backs up this guy's reputation. From my research, it appears many Filipino kids enjoyed his unique comic book vision and beloved creations. Taken all together, the story is basic but well handled. The main storyline features your classic woman getting mugged in a dark alley, Hugh the Dark Knight swooping in to show the thugs what it means to get your butt kicked, and everyone lives happily ever after. The book has other stories within it outside of the more classic Batman plot that I think are local to the islands, as I do not recognize them. One thing is for sure, this book was a welcome entry into the Batman universe for Filipino kids and adult comic aficionados who may not have had access to licensed bookstore copies. With the ALYAS movies being popular, I'm sure this bootleg is piggybacked off of the film's success. This book is important to me, because I don't believe that any collectors outside of the Philippines know about these Bats bootlegs, and I want to shine a bright light on their existence. An extensive internet search reveals nothing in English about Filipino bootleg Bats comics, and while searching in the more rare language of Tagalog, I couldn't find anything beside the ALYAS Batman movies. These books don't readily exist online for even a good internet researcher like me to find. This lack of online knowledge leads me to conclude that these comics must be impressively scarce. Well, I hope you enjoyed this journey to the Philippines with me. Be safe, and remember, there are hundreds, possibly thousands of foreign comic hunters out there. They just don't know it yet.
Do you still remember from your comic books Gotham City style and the gloom? The Kid Crusader and the Wonder Boy, kalaban nila ang mga crews. by now, and the equation now, they are a part of me.